If you can see this book, um, I hope you can see this. Anyway, it's the Nectarian Ocean of the Holy Name by Sachinandana Swami. And we are on page number 72. We stopped a month back because we started Tirupavi. And we'll continue reading this for, for a few minutes. And then we can have some discussions or questions on this one. Right now, where we are is on the 10 offenses that committed against the holy name of the Lord. And we completed to blaspheme the devotees who dedicated their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Number two, to consider the names of demigods equal with the names of Vishnu. Number three, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Four, to blaspheme the Vedic literature. Five, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. Six, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seven, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. Eight, to consider chanting to be a ritualistic activity. Nine, to instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. And 10, to maintain material attachments. So we are on the seventh one, where to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. Namno bhalad yasya papa buddhi. In that we have read the different stages of sins. The sins that are different stages are three in category: ignorance, uh, the desire to commit sin, and the sinful act in itself. Those are the three different stages of sins. And we also read there is the intentional sins and unintentional sins. We also read that one. And the next one, subsection of this particular um, offense is chanting destroys all anarthas. So maybe we'll start from there. Let me read. The best means to become free of sinful propensities is to sincerely take shelter of the holy name with pure motivation. The holy name is eternally situated in pure goodness. Only very fortunate souls can take shelter of Krishna's holy name. The process of chanting quickly removes the anarthas in the heart and causes hridaya durbhulyam, weakness of the heart, to disappear. Someone who develops unflinching faith in the holy name will immediately be released from the propensity to act sinfully. Then his heart shines with resolute purity. Chanting softens the heart and evokes compassion for all conditioned souls. The chanter is constantly endeavoring for their spiritual well being. He cannot bear to see the sufferings of the conditioned souls and tries by all means to deliver them from their distress. He has no lusty desires, no urge to enjoy the senses. He accepts only what is favorable for executing devotional service and rejects that which is unfavorable. He is convinced in all circumstances that Lord Krishna is his protector, savior, maintainer. He does not identify himself with his body. In a humble state of mind, he constantly chants the holy name of the Lord. In this way, he loses all inclination to commit sinful activities. That is about the chanting, how chanting destroys all anarthas. There is nothing but a mood of surrender, where we already studied for past 30 days of Sharanagati, how one should perform Sharanagati. Um, Anukulyasya sankalpaha, pratikulyasya varjanam. So that has been told here. So do things that is favorable in Krishna consciousness that Krishna likes, and reject those things against Krishna consciousness that Krishna is not going to be pleased by our action. There's one more section in this particular chapter. Um, we'll see if there is any questions or any discussions. If there is any nothing, then we'll continue the finishing of this one. But I'll pause here and wait. If there is any general questions or anything that anyone has to discuss, we can open up.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavad, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a question, Prabhu. Uh, Prabhuji, I have seen some devotees talk while chanting, Prabhu, like they pause and they talk and then they continue. I even asked them, like, do you continue or you restart your chanting? They said they continue their chanting, Prabhu. Like, is it okay to do that, Prabhu? Like, I just want to confirm from you, Prabhu. Like,
Yeah, it is absolutely okay to continue from where they have stopped. Ideally, it is not good. Ideally, it's not a good practice while you're chanting. I try to do this one. When I've started my chanting, I do not try to respond to anything until I finish that round. That would be the nice practice to do. But it's not that you cannot, it's not like that is why holy name is merciful,
mm,
because it's like a Vedic mantra. You start, you cannot just have conversation in between. When you started chanting the Vedic mantras, you cannot do in between business. You have to start, you have to finish it. But holy name is merciful. You, if you have to really respond to something, you respond. But if we can have an habit of this habit of, if I start a round, I won't talk until I finish that round, then what happens is it brings a discipline within us. If we don't have the discipline, what happens is that it becomes casual and we take it granted, and we start having conversation freely. We just chanting and go and talk to someone and do all sort of things. That becomes a little bit of taking for granted the importance of chanting, and it's not very great. But it just depends on a devotee how strong they are and how they want to practice their chanting. So I would strongly recommend for this group a small practice of, if you start your chanting, finish that round before you can respond to something else, unless until it's a emergency situation or you really have to address something, then yes, then that's fine. Excuse the chanting for that moment. Nama Prabhu, we treat chanting as not just a sound, as the personification of Lord Himself. So we take permission from the Lord and address other things. Okay.
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 Sure, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Prabhu, better to avoid than chanting in the groups or than pairs, right? Prabhu means
Sorry.
like if you don't want to respond, like what I'm saying is better to chant alone. So we no need to talk, right, Prabhu? Because if someone is right to me, and of course we are doing chanting and people are asking questions, we need to respond, right? So better to do the chanting alone.
I didn't understand how
No,
people.
what I'm asking is better to do the chanting alone. In that way, we can avoid a lot of distractions of this talking or anything, right, Prabhu?
No, I didn't get it. I didn't get. What's the point?
No,
So,
no.
Prabhuji, I think Mataji is saying, so if we're chanting in the public, then there is a chance for people asking some questions, and we being distracted. Like we have to stop the chanting and then answer to them. Instead of that, if we do alone chanting, like just single, then we can avoid all that sort of
Thank
question.
you. Sorry, my mind is dull mind. I couldn't catch this. Yes, definitely that's good practice. You know, better to finish your chanting before you get into the outside of your door, if possible, so you don't need to respond to those things. Yes, thank you. Nice point.
Thank
But
you, Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu.
no, I mean slow in understanding things. Sorry, it's not your problem. Now the thing is that please understand, when we are doing this program here, we interfere at for 5:15. So do not take that into this consideration, because we have some time bound. Therefore, we may stop you as you're chanting in between. So do not get offended on that thing. Thank you. Okay. Anyone has anything else? Practical application on chanting or anything for that matter. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Narad Pranam Prabhu.
Nanda.
Prabhu, when we look at 16 rounds, right? Um, you know, uh, is it, I mean, chanting, sitting in front of the Lord and chanting only will count as 16 rounds? Or if we do some rounds while, while having some time at work, um, to complete some rounds. Will that be fine, Prabhu?
There is something called yagam and something called anuyagam. Yaga means where we physically perform sacrifice, fire sacrifice, right? We have fire sacrifice, we offer to Havisha, we have to offer different articles and things like that in the fire sacrifice. What in the community of devotees, great sages and devotees, they also perform anuyagam. Anuyagam means you don't think it's a fire sacrifice. Quite interesting to learn this one. Anuyagam is nothing but offering the bhoga, the food, into ourself where Paramatma is seated inside. Right? That is why when we are eating, we are not eating for our sake. The first morsels of the food, we have to offer to the Lord within ourselves. That is why there is a practice. These are some details I'm giving you to answer your question. When you are eating the first food, you don't just take and eat. Start the food that you're eating should not be touched by your teeth, because when you're offering, you take one grain and put it in your mouth, you swallow it. That means that is going as an anuyagam, going to the Paramatma. When the Paramatma has taken it, then we start eating food. That is called, it's not, we are not eating food. We are doing a yagya called anuyagam. That is how we have to eat food. But we are eating food for our satisfaction and enjoyment and so forth. That's number one. Number two is when we are, for example, people when you're speaking, they come and give a speaker is sitting and speaking, they're putting a garland. The speaker should understand the garland is not being put to him to glorify him, that he's a great speaker and we are honoring by a big garland or something. The more our speaker should receive the garland is that garland is actually offered not to him, the Paramatma within himself. That is how the speaker should receive the garland. And really speaking, once the garland is offered, the speaker should not take the garland off until the class is over. But I also remove it because it's very difficult for me to wear sometimes. So I'll remove it. I also have allergy. But anyway, the mood is that Paramatma is always within our heart. Whether we are in front of the deity room, in puja room, or in the temple, or outside of temple, doesn't matter. So chanting the same thing. It's nice and effective to chant in front of the deities, but it is not that you cannot chant elsewhere. You can sit in some other place, wherever it is, and think that Lord is within your heart, and you can just chant His name. That is also all right, and that can be done as a practice. In fact, if we can do such practices, you can do some rounds in front of the deities, some round you can try to meditate the Lord within your heart. It's a very good, wonderful thing to practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
I saw Manjira Mataji coming up with some question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavats, Prabhu. Prabhu, in the section you read, you have read one sentence was like chant quickly, and then the sentence followed. I was just not able to understand that quickly word, Prabhu.
Did I say quickly? Let me check here 1 second.
It was in the beginning, Prabhu, like the second or third sentence you have read.
Yeah, I'm not able to find. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're very good and listener. The process of chanting quickly, the process, the the process, the process of chanting quickly removes the anarthas in the heart and causes the hridaya durbalyam, weakness of the heart, to disappear. Someone who develops unfriendship. Yeah. So what's your question on this? Why we have to chant quickly?
Maybe quickly word is for quickly removes the.
Quickly removes the chanting, the process of chanting quickly, kama, removes the anarthas. Quickly removes. Chanting quickly removes. Chanting should be a kama and then quickly removes the anarthas. It's not chanting quickly, it's quickly removes the anarthas. What a big difference it makes if you remove the kama then.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Good point. Good catch. I was reading quickly, that's a problem. Okay. It's 5:30. Thank you all very much for joining today, and continue chanting, and we'll meet again tomorrow at 5 a.m. Central Time. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare